The headlines: Western Province Premier Honorable Leveo clarified the disqualification of the Western Provincial Government from the Provincial Capacity Development Fund for the second time. A state funeral for the late Sir Francis Billy Hilly was held today in Honiara. And former Premier of Malaita Province Daniel Suidani says the recent court's decision on his case against the former Minister of Provincial Government, Honorable Roland Seleso, shows that administrative decisions have limits. Hello, you're watching SIBC's TV News Bulletin. I'm Sharon Nanao. Western Province Premier Honorable Billy Veo clarified the disqualification of the Western Provincial Government from the Provincial Capacity Development Fund (PCDF) for the second time. Premier Veo made the clarification in his opening speech of the Assembly meeting to deliberate on the draft budget estimate for 2025-2026 at the Imagination Island Resort in Gizo. He said previous governments had failed to comply with the submission of the budget.
I would also like to clarify some of the uninformed criticism leveled against my government and administration on some key issues, like the Western Provincial Government disqualification from the PCDF for the second time. Mr. Speaker said, for the record, it is the Honiara government that since taking office coming in early 23 made the call to have WPIC financial statement from 2019-2020 financial year up to 2023-2024 by compile and submit to the Office of the Audit General. Previous governments have failed to comply, and as a matter of the fact, we are only cleaning up what should have been done previously, but was never done due to lack of political will.
Honorable Veo noted that it was only since the 2021-2022 PCDF assessment that the WPIC and the WPG consultation of financial statement had become a criteria under minimum qualifying condition for MQC4, which was why they failed in the last two assessments.
Mr. Speaker said, taking further note that it was only since the 2021 and 2022 PCDF assessment that the WPSC and the WPG consolidation of financial statement has become some criteria under MC4, and that is why we failed that in the last two assessments. Mr. Speaker said, if this has been applied as criteria previously, WPG would have already failed in numerous other provincial previous assessments. Sir, also take further note that regardless of whatever government that may have assumed power in 2023, WPG would still fail the PCDF assessment for 2021 and 2022, 2022 and 2023 fiscal years. Mr. Speaker said WPG failed the MC4 simply because WPIC financial statement for both 2021 and 2022 and financial statement 2022-23 were not submitted in time to meet the June 30th cut-off date. And B, WPSC and WPG financial statement were not consolidated. It must also be understood that WPG financial statements are all good and have been submitted on time, and WPG attained unqualified opinion for its audit reports for the past 3 or so years.
A state funeral for the late Sir Francis Billy Hilly was held today in Honiara. Simon Tavake reports.
A state funeral for the late Sir Francis Billy Hilly was held today in Honiara. The body of the late statesman was transported from his home to the National Parliament. In Parliament, the body laid in state where members of Parliament, senior government officials and other dignitaries paid their respect. A funeral service was held at the Wesley United Church. Honorable Manasseh Sogavare in his eulogy reflected on Sir Hilly's life.
Under the unwavering leadership of Sir Francis Billy Hilly, the NCP government took to the letter the convictions that the smaller the size of the government, the effective it will be in discharging its core functions. And the NCP government holds the record of implementing more reforms in a short period of time than any other Solomon Islands governments. In just over a period of 1 year, 18 months to be exact, in the short life of NCP government, we demobilized a number of government institutions, like an LDA, the government printers, the Marine Department, the Public Works Department, and also we sell government assets, and including the government house, now the Heritage Park Hotel. The argument, and my point in listing these, ladies and gentlemen, is that the argument as to whether we did the right thing aside, what I'm trying to say is, here is a man who took his leadership role as head of government and steward of government policies seriously, believed in the policy of his government and get it implemented. I guess a trait worthy of emulation. And ladies and gentlemen, my admiration for his convictions about his vision for a better Solomon Islands continues, and when the 1997 general elections came around, I willingly and without reservation contested under the Solomon Islands National Party under his leadership, and won the East seat, and then together with the current Speaker of Parliament and other ministers, we formed the Solomon Islands Alliance for Change government, another reform-minded government under the leadership of the late Honourable Bartholomew Lufalo.
Meanwhile, Sir Francis Billy Hilly's daughter, Grace Hilly, said his father was devoted to his family and the country.
To speak of my father, Sir Francis is to speak of a man of profound humility, a man of few words, yet of unwavering integrity. He was a beacon of strength and a true servant of his people. Beyond his family, Dad dedicated his life to public service. He served our nation with distinction, always placing the needs of his people above his own. His leadership was marked by wisdom and compassion. We often felt that Dad's love for the people of Renoga, and indeed for the entire nation of Solomon Islands, was paramount. He wasn't a man of many words, but when you had the privilege of speaking to him, he constantly spoke of Solomon, often with tears in his eyes. That was enough for us to know his deep and abiding love for this country, our patriotism he instilled in us.
The late Sir Francis Billy Hilly's body left Honiara this evening for Western Province. SIBC News understands he will be laid to rest in his home village in Ranonga, Simbo constituency. I'm Simon Tavake for SIBC TV.
The former Premier of Malaita Province, Daniel Swidani, said the recent court's decision on his case against the former Minister of Provincial Government, Honourable Roland Seleso, shows that administrative decisions have limits. This comes after the High Court ruled that Seleso's decision in the case to disqualify him from his provincial seat in 2023 was not made according to the law. He told SIBC News that the court's decision shows that certain administrative decisions could be challenged in court.
What me looking at case where me fella go through here is a way to show to the country that there's a justice system that we still uphold it. And me like for thing to judge the only female judge, La Solomon, who had me hold him case here for me go through with him lawyers, meeting to Gabriel Suri law firm, and all the others were going to stand by my side for get them case here through. Not forgetting Malitans where I could stand to see that democracy is still alive and is still here. That the voice of the people is still something that leaders should look to him, think big to him, and always seek him advice, because him not need one people like him. We are leaders. We are mandated to follow what people like him. So that's for that. And me like for thinking to like court him justice and prevail the way we have it. So this one to me I'm setting precedence for you will not take him words block at authorities or those in authority time of the time if in something where you feel that it has to be proven by the court of law, then that's the way to go. We have to prove things the court of law.
The former Premier says he is liable to be reimbursed with all the entitlements, including salaries, allowances and all the court's expenses.
Yes, I think High Court, the ruling below me stipulating clear that I'm going to have to pay entitlements, salaries, allowances, and anything that is payable on members that time. Okay, must buy me, plus him what the costs below me of where I'm going to more standard cost. So that one, okay, must buy him. Travels below me, okay, the place me stop, and fees me buy him. All these things where me standard, him got him standard charges. Even if you pick him something all about, then put him come. There must be something or same like ship him got him standard, fare blame standard. Hotels him got him standard, him got him room standard. That one. Feasting him no got him standard. So for if you bring him, oh me make him BKK, this one him no more. So but allow him talent finish. Not there that whoever is responsible for where he must buy me. He must buy him. Yeah. One me cover him salaries and all the other entitlements that him due unto me. So that one plus cost to him back to the fund, which is me not like him, no not like him for doing for me. So we have to sort something.
SIBC News understands the government's legal team is now reviewing the High Court judgment with intention to appeal. The National Referral Hospital in Honiara received a donation of medical drugs and equipment from the People's Republic of China aimed at supporting local healthcare services. Alex Dadamu with the details.
The National Referral Hospital yesterday received medical drugs and equipment from the People's Republic of China in Honiara. The drugs and equipment will be used at the hospital and the Comprehensive Medical Center. The brief handover ceremony coincided with the farewell and handing over of the certificates to the 3rd Chinese medical team who left the country today. In his remarks, Minister of Health and Medical Services, Dr. Paul Bosawai, says the support marks another milestone achievement in the relationship between Solomon Islands and PRC.
First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the People's Republic of China, PRC, and your government for your continuous support in again donating this huge assistance to us, especially the medicines and other consumables and equipment. As I took the portfolio, I advocate for health infrastructure, to which you also contributed to that. Health workforce, which I heard from your speech, you also contribute to developing and enhancing the capacity of our health workforce. And today we witness one of the advocacy that I did when I took the portfolio as a Minister of Health, and that is health supplies, and to which today I would like to take again this great opportunity to thank the people, Republic of China, and your good government for your continued support to us within the ministry, and I, on behalf of our people and the government of the National Unity and Transformation, to sincerely thank you.
Meanwhile, PRC's ambassador to Solomon Islands, His Excellency Tsai Wei-ming, says the donation represents the latest gifts from the people of China to Solomon Islands.
It is really a great pleasure for me to attend today's donation ceremony of another batch of medicines and medical equipment worth over 600,000 Solomon Islands dollars to Solomon Islands. At the same time, we are bidding farewell to the 3rd Chinese medical team and welcoming the 4th Chinese medical team. This batch of medicines and medical equipment were carefully selected to meet the specific needs and conditions of Solomon Islands. They include antimicrobial drugs for treatment of various infections, antipyretic and analgesic drugs for fever relief and pain management, cardiovascular medications for treatment of hypertension, diabetes and emergency cardiac conditions.
Team leader of the 3rd Chinese medical team, Dr. Mu Mao says they will leave Solomon Islands with cherished memories and deep sense of fulfillment.
We are also thankful for the solidarity and cooperation shown by our colleagues at the National Referral Hospital. Your trust and gratitude have been our greatest motivation. Lastly, I would thank to my fellow team members for your hard work. We have been through a lot together, and your support and encouragement have been invaluable. As we prepare to leave, we carry with us cherished memories and a deep sense of fulfillment. We are confident that the seeds of friendship and cooperation we have sown will continue to grow and bear fruit. Thank you.
Jan Kau.
Now, the British High Commissioner to Solomon Islands, His Excellency Paul Turner, has clarified that the United Kingdom's development approach is primarily multilateral. Mr. Turner made the statement in an exclusive interview with SIBC News. He explained that the UK's development assistance in Solomon Islands is mainly through multilateral organisations like UNICEF, Gavi and the Global Partnership for Education, rather than direct bilateral funding.
There are countries here that have large bilateral programs, obviously the Australians and New Zealanders. The UK's money is mainly through the multilateral systems, as I've said before. We put a huge amount of money into the Global Partnership for Education. We've put about $1 billion Australian dollars worth into the Global Partnership for Education. In Gavi, which is the vaccine, I contrast the UK contribution of $2.6 billion into Gavi with China's, which is only $120 million. So you get an idea of the scale of our contribution. And we've recently put in $2.5 billion into the World Bank. That money is obviously allocated globally, but a huge amount of that money is coming into the Pacific area. So much of my interest is not just the bilateral UK programme, which I can talk about, but also making sure that those multilateral contributions that we give are working for the government and the people of Solomon Islands.
The UK allocates around €5.5 billion annually to multilateral aid, making up 35.9% of its total official development assistance, ODA, in 2023. Now, the Special Economic Zone Bill, SEZ, aims to diverse the country's economic base and create employment for Solomon Islanders.
The Special Economic Zone Bill aims to diverse the country's economic base and create employment for Solomon Islanders. Ministry of Commerce, Industry, Labour and Immigration Permanent Secretary Riley Mesepitu made the statement when presenting the Special Economic Zone Bill before the Bills and Legislation Committee. He said the bill, once passed, will provide the legal framework to establish special economic zone areas in the country.
The draft SEZ bill intends to provide a legal framework towards establishment of the special economic zones in the Solomon Islands. The SEZ, in short, intended outcome is development and promote of new and key industries that allow local and international investor participation, thus promotes economic development and creates employment opportunities for the Solomon Islands. The objective of the bill in brief as follows: a strong and diversified economic base that fosters and generates economic development, including through private-public partnership. PPP is consistent with the government's development strategies and contributes to national development goals. E, a business environment that supports sustainable industrial and commercial development. C, the development of infrastructure, utilities and technological capacity for establishing industrial and commercial businesses. Development of manufacturing and processing industries. Sustainable development in the provinces. Invest in Solomon Islands, long-term economic and social development that creates employment opportunities and other national, regional, economic and social benefits. Economic and business innovation, increased production for the export and local markets, increased trade and export, and diversified sources of foreign earnings and increased export earnings. Chairman and members of the BLC, the matters provided for in this bill to achieve its objective, including the following: the designation of geographical areas as special economic zones, the establishment of a regulator with functions for administering, supervising, and regulating the development and operation of special economic zones and the conduct of businesses in special economic zones, the application for and grant of licenses to entities to develop or operate special economic zones, operating agreements entered into between the regulator and license holders for the operation of special economic zones, the application for and grant of permits entitling businesses to be located and conducted in and from special economic zones, amendments to other written laws to provide for commercial advantages and incentives for licensed individuals operating in a special economic zone. Chairman, members of the BLC, the enactment of a new special economic zone Bill 2024 is based on the following government policies. The National Vision 2016-2035.
Mr. Mesepitu said the special economic zones will operate under different economic regulation.
Special economic zones are designated areas within a country that operate under different economic regulations than the rest of the country. They are often established to attract foreign investment, enhance trade, and promote economic development. Here are some key points regarding the SEZs. One, its purpose. We have to have purpose. The regulatory framework, infrastructure development, investment attraction, sector focus, management and operation, challenges, global examples, evaluating performance, future trends. On the legal consideration, Chairman, there is legislation and regulatory framework which is very important in any bills. Investment regulations, land use and property rights, labor laws and employment regulations, environmental regulations, trade and customs regulations, dispute resolutions, international standards and compliance, incentive management, public policy considerations. In the area of policy justification related to special economic zones bill, we have to look at economic diversification, attract foreign investment, job creation, infrastructure development, skill development and technology transfer, boosting export potential, regulatory and administrative simplification, promotion of entrepreneurship, regional development, and environmental and sustainable practices.
Alfred Pangepitu, SIBC TV.
Solomon Islands is exploring ways to strengthen the management of its extractive sectors, particularly forestry, in response to the unsustainable extraction of its natural resources. Simon Tavake with more.
While the Solomon Islands economy is heavily reliant on natural resources, with significant contributions from sectors such as logging, fishing and mining, there is a lack of proper management to safeguard these resources, leading to unsustainable extraction. As part of this, the United Kingdom is looking into strengthening the extractive sector, such as forestry, with a new program aimed at helping the country with sustainable logging. In an interview with SIBC TV, British High Commissioner to Solomon Islands, His Excellency Paul Turner, said the country has faced challenges in using its resources in an unsustainable way.
We're also looking at a new forestry program, which is not yet finalised, but which we hope to take forward, which will be helping in terms of development of a more sustainable logging industry. I mean, one of the challenges you've had is actually trying to make sure that the economic sectors that you do are actually exploited in a sustainable way. That hasn't happened in logging.
He also highlighted the UK's plan to ensure that the Solomon Islands rejoin the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, EITI, to properly manage the country's natural resources.
If you look at the mineral sector, we have offered to the government, working with the World Bank, we have offered to give technical assistance to the Solomon Islands government rejoining the International Extractives Transparency Index. This is a system whereby those governments that are actually looking to develop their mineral sector, that they can be internationally recognised in terms of how that process is taken forward. This is good for government because it means that, for example, they can get more official revenue through tax, whatever happening through the extractive industry, which perhaps didn't happen ideally in all parts of the logging sector.
I'm Simon Tavaki for SIBC TV.
The Special Economic Zone Bill does not clearly show if it complements the country's Environment Act. Ministry of Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology Environment Director Joseph Hurutarau made this statement during his ministry's appearance before the Bills and Legislation Committee hearing into the Special Economic Zone Bill. He said clarification is needed on how development in the SEZ will follow the regulations.
22, the requirements for development. Like he already mentioned, that the Environment Act requires that all developments, prescribed developments, must submit to the environment their plans as well. So we just want to see the link to this requirement, whether it complements what is stipulated in the Environment Act. Or this is something that is required of any development before coming down to our division on that separate process under the Environment Act. So I think that's something that has to be cleared in terms of this requirement.
Mr. Hurutarau adds the bill does not clearly state how environmental issues associated with a special economic zone will be addressed if they occur.
The other one, I've noted that in Division 9.2E, there's E4, there's a requirement when the authority is trying to designate a special economic zone, it has to consult the environment requirements. It's not very elaborate, but hopefully the environment requirements can be considered. Just the other general concern is with regards to this special economic zone. How is it taking on the environment issues? For example, if a development that is discharging waste into the marine sites or affecting certain important ecosystems that the communities and people depend on, how does I'm aware that it's interest in economic development, but how is the environment aspects being considered? Because it's also part of the environment that the development would be taking place. Probably my last concern is just in terms of this concept or this the development model. How do other countries or neighbors, do we have similar examples of how that's been developed and a similar law being in place to manage such special economic zones?
The United Kingdom is working on drafting a new energy regulator for Solomon Islands. Simon Tavake reports.
As a country that depends primarily on imported fuel for nearly all its electricity generation, the Solomon Islands has some of the highest electricity costs in the region and in the world. To address this, the Government for National Unity and Transformation, GNUT, is committed to making improvements in the energy sector by reducing electricity tariffs by 20% over the next 3 years. While the government is working hard to review the current Energy Act, the United Kingdom is also working on drafting a new energy regulator for the Solomon Islands. According to the British High Commissioner to the Solomon Islands, His Excellency Paul Turner said this would allow independent power producers to provide services in the country.
And then probably the other big area is the power. You have, if not the most, certainly the most expensive electricity charges in the Pacific, and some of the highest in the world, that isn't going to help growth at all. So what would I propose on that? We actually have been working in terms of drafting a new independent energy regulator for the Solomon Islands. The idea of this is that more independent power producers are able to come in and actually provide power over and above what you have already, which is on the grid. Obviously 90% is diesel, which just isn't going to be sustainable in the long run. So those are just some of the issues that, if you like, in the first month or so here I've noticed.
He added that it is up to the government to have the political will if they wish to proceed further, as the UK is willing to provide technical assistance.
We're just in the final stages of drafting a new manifesto, if you like, for an independent energy regulator. As I've said before, then it's for the government to have the political will to want to take that forward to the next stage. We're willing to help in terms of providing technical assistance. We feel that it's a crucial area because I'm often asked about what can be done to reduce the cost of power here. And one of the first things is being able to open up the market and to get a range of suppliers. So that's something that I'm going to try and prioritise if we can take that to the next stage. That has to be a government decision.
Simon Tavake, SIBC TV.
And that's news. Follow us on sibconline.com.sb and our SIBC News Facebook page for more of our latest stories. Thanks for watching.